Hey guys, what's going on? This is Kyle at ProjectionHub, and today I'm going to talk about why is it so important to use visual aids in your business plan. Now, all the time I'm working with people on a business plan or reviewing someone's business plan, and they've got a really nice solid foundation with a lot of text, and they've written it out and they've got all their details in there, and they're saying, is this good enough? Like if I send this to my lender, is that enough? And I'm always torn on my response because one, I want to say, yeah, because really it is the substance and the text that matters, right? It's the plan that matters. But on the other hand, the visuals play a very important part, and that's what I'm going to dive into in this video and show you some examples. Again, my name is Kyle. I lead the business plan writing services here at ProjectionHub. We've helped hundreds of businesses write their plans, thousands more create the financial projections. And before my time writing business plans, I was an SBA loan officer reviewing business plans. So that's kind of where my background and expertise comes from. So if at any point you like the video, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing to the channel, or if you have questions, just drop a comment down below or contact us directly at support@projectionhub.com. We can answer your question directly. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. All right, here we go. Now I have pulled up a sample business plan. Now this is version of a real business plan that I'd worked on where I anonymized and simplified a lot of the data in it. But I'm going to use this to demonstrate a few things. Now it won't be able to demonstrate all of my points, but I'll try to communicate them as best I can. The question we're trying to answer is, why is it important, or why are visuals important in a business plan? Let's assume you're using your business plan to apply for a loan. That's usually most purposes why people are creating a business plan. If you're not, if you're just doing this as an exercise to get your thoughts down on paper, create your plan because you've heard it's a good thing to do to start a business, the visuals may not be necessary, right? If it's for you and your eyes only, that's okay. That's a different story. But if your lender is telling you, hey, I need a business plan, if your investor is telling you, hey, I need a business plan, this is the answer as to why it's important to have the visuals. It's very important to not let a lender's mind wander when they are reviewing your plan or they're processing your loan application. We don't want them to get distracted. We don't want them to get confused. And I'm not saying that to say that lenders aren't intelligent. They are. The reality is they are reviewing lots of applications. They are not spending all day reading business plans. They're probably not even reading your entire business plan. So we can get into that in a little bit. And so the reason why having visuals added are important is it's going to shorten the application process, right? So they're going to have to come back and ask less questions if you can proactively demonstrate the answer to the question that they might have. So it's going to reduce the amount of questions. It's going to reduce delays on their end. So every time they have to ask you for more information or request more information, they're not sitting at their computer waiting to respond to you. Even if you have them on the phone, you're likely not going to be, clarifying everything you can in one phone call. So there's going to be a delay, right? They're going to review your material, send off some questions, move on to the next thing. So it's going to elongate the process to do that. The longer that process gets, that makes way for more confusion. The email threads get longer. There's more attachments being sent. Now the loan officer is trying to talk to underwriting, or they're trying to talk to the loan committee, and there's confusion on some of the things and they can't help visualize it. It just creates more confusion in that process. And so ultimately we can shorten the process and increase your odds if they have clarity, and it can make it easier for your loan officer to pitch it to a loan committee, right? So at some point behind the curtain, when lenders are looking through this, it's going through a few processes, right? You're going to have your loan officer taken in. They're going to be screening it, looking at it. It's eventually going to go to an underwriting committee. They're going to be focused more on probably the financial components, but they're going to be reviewing it. And then ultimately it's going to go to a committee of some sort or a superior of some sort, and they're going to make it a final approval or a decision, likely being presented by a loan officer or some sort of a champion on your deal. So the more simple and clear we can make this, the better. Now, what are some specific examples of visuals? Now, what I'm not telling you to do is just add a bunch of pictures in. When I was in high school and we were doing PowerPoints, and it was early on and kind of doing PowerPoints, and you just would put a ton of random pictures in there because it filled up a ton of space. That's not what we're going for here. We only want to use visuals that actually help and demonstrate a point that might be a little bit more confusing. So a few of those could be the scope of the project, right? So let's jump to that first. So in this business plan, financial projections, I'm going to jump all the way down to the financial projections really fast so we can see some visuals of the financial projections. Now, there's a good amount of text in here, but if your entire financial section was just a bunch of text, it's a little bit hard to make sense of that. But if we can include, and actually, let me jump over to this example here. This is another business plan example where I've anonymized a lot of the data, and you can see some nice helpful tables. So we can see some annual ratios and percentages in there. This one has historical financials as well as nice, clean 5-year projections and pro forma statements. They're going to request those things anyways, but including these visuals in here, it makes it very easy for a lender to understand the scope of the project and they can always revert back to these, right? So yes, you're going to give them projections probably in a different sheet, but if your business plan contains the kind of paired version of that, the companion version of that, and the explanation of the assumptions, that makes it very easy to keep things straight for the lender. Two, we're going to talk about the way we can demonstrate this is, especially if there's some sort of physical location involved, that would imply maybe you're leasing a space, maybe you're buying a space, or you're gonna have to renovate that space. And so the more you can keep the lender's mind tight on exactly how that money is gonna be spent is helpful in your business plan. So let's hop back over to this laundromat, for example. In this case, they were buying a lot of land, like a plot of land. So here, we're just showing them this is exactly where the plot is. If we didn't include these images, then they're probably gonna go to Google and have to look for them anyways, which fine, they'll see that. But then if they go and they look at another project, then they come back to this, every single time, they're probably not gonna look up the address to remember that. So just showing them exactly what it is helpful. Then we give them a site plan or floor plan for the laundromat. So we can say, hey, this is what the facility is gonna look like. If you don't have these professionally done yet, find examples of floor plans on Pinterest that you think would make sense for your business. We do that all the time for businesses that are early stage. You can find a ton of great free floor plans out there on Pinterest. If that represents kind of what you have in mind, here's another angle of it. And then, you've got machines in here to demonstrate the type of machine, how it's going to be spent. So we're keeping it very clear. This is where we're going to do this at. We provided an analysis of the location. So I'll extrapolate that to like the location. So this is exactly where it's going to be located. This is the lot that it looks like. This is the plan that's going to look like. This is some inspiration photos of what we want the inside to look like. Here's the type of machines we're going to do. So this isn't adding useless imagery. I'm just we're keeping it very simple for a lender to be able to quickly go boom, boom, boom. Now they have a vision in their mind that actually matches exactly what you as the applicant are doing. So if we didn't include any of these or half of these, it kind of just leaves some empty space on what exactly. It leaves things in kind of an ambiguous state. It also makes the project a little less memorable. So those are really simple examples. The other area that I would say is market research. So market research and market analysis is not a super attractive or memorable thing to talk about. So if you're talking about like the industry is $9 billion and in this region, there's this many potential customers, but the more we can put visuals to that. So, hey, look, this is a nice simple chart, easy to understand. Here's demographics. So on one hand, for a laundromat specifically, a good target location for laundromats is often where there's a higher percentage of people who rent. And even in some cases where income is within a certain range, that means it's usually a place where there's going to be less room for appliances in the household. And so that's just indicative of demographics in the area. So we could just put that in words of within a 1 mile radius, there's this type of population demographics, or we can show them some visuals that make it very easy to represent that. So those are some quick examples. The idea is you don't want to leave the vision of your business up to the imagination of the lender. You want them to understand exactly what you're trying to accomplish. So don't add in visuals just for the sake of it. But if you're a business that has a tangible thing, right? It's going to be a place. You're going to purchase equipment. You're going to sell specific pieces of, like if you're going to have a boutique or a retail store, the items you're going to be selling, the types of items you're going to be selling. We really want to visualize how the money will be spent, how this business is going to operate. And that can make it very easy for lenders to keep those details clear. So that's my case. When you have the business plan, it's one thing just to get everything down on paper and all of the words. And I understand that. Just take one extra step and add in these visual aids to really help tie together the vision, because ultimately that's going to help you, because then the lender's vision becomes your vision. And then you know that your champion inside the lender's four walls is kind of telling the same story that you'd like them to. So that's my quick 2 cents on why visuals matter in your business plan. If you've got a business plan and you would like some expert feedback or review, I'm going to pull up really quick. You can go to ProjectionHub or down the description below. We offer a free business plan review where I will go through your business plan. I will record a video, not for YouTube, but for you specifically, like this, where I'll quickly go through your business plan, point out some things and give you some feedback on things I would implement if I were you, and even potentially some ways I could help if I think it could be useful. So if you've got questions, drop them down in the comments below or reach out to us at support@ProjectionHub.com. Like the video if it was helpful for you and subscribe to the channel, and we will see you in the next one. Thanks.